subscribe for daily quizzes, and let me know how many you got correct today. Here's some cognitive biases trivia. What bias favors recent information? Is it A, primacy effect, B, confirmation bias, C, recency effect, or D, availability heuristic? The correct answer is C, recency effect. What bias leads to favoring local information? Is it A, anchoring bias, B, sunk cost fallacy, C, availability heuristic, or D, confirmation bias? The correct answer is C, availability heuristic. Which tendency focuses on confirming beliefs? Is it A, cognitive dissonance, B, hindsight bias, C, confirmation bias, or D, anchoring bias? The correct answer is C, confirmation bias. What is the inclination to remember the first items? Is it A, primacy effect, B, interference theory, C, memory decay, or D, recency bias? The correct answer is A, primacy effect. Which bias favors one's own group? Is it A, in-group bias, B, confirmation bias, C, self-serving bias, or D, out-group bias? The correct answer is A, in-group bias. What term describes misjudging probabilities? Is it A, gambler's fallacy, B, base rate fallacy, C, availability heuristic, or D, confirmation bias? The correct answer is B, base rate fallacy. What is the tendency to overlook statistics? Is it A, sample size neglect, B, cognitive dissonance, C, overconfidence effect, or D, confirmation bias? The correct answer is A, sample size neglect. What bias occurs from decisions based on emotions? Is it A, anchoring effect, B, cognitive dissonance, C, confirmation bias, or D, affective reasoning? The correct answer is D, affective reasoning. Which effect magnifies the importance of unique events? Is it A, vividness bias, B, recency effect, C, availability heuristic, or D, confirmation bias? The correct answer is A, vividness bias. What term refers to a false cause and effect? Is it A, correlation fallacy, B, causation error, C, post hoc fallacy, or D, misleading statistic? The correct answer is C, post hoc fallacy. What cognitive error occurs when predictions are influenced by availability? Is it A, confirmation bias, B, hindsight bias, C, availability cascade, or D, anchoring effect? The correct answer is C, availability cascade. What fallacy involves attributing causation to correlation? Is it A, post hoc fallacy, B, appeal to authority, C, correlation causation fallacy, or D, slippery slope fallacy? The correct answer is C, correlation causation fallacy. Which effect shows a behavioral change after exposure? Is it A, halo effect, B, Pygmalion effect, C, priming effect, or D, exposure effect? The correct answer is D, exposure effect. What bias results from the anchoring effect? Is it A, anchoring bias, B, availability heuristic, C, hindsight bias, or D, confirmation bias? The correct answer is A, anchoring bias. What is the tendency to favor immediate rewards? Is it A, present bias, B, delayed gratification, C, future discounting, or D, long-term planning? The correct answer is A, present bias. What concept suggests a problematic mindset when assessing randomness? Is it A, law of large numbers, B, gambler's fallacy, C, clustering illusion, or D, regression to mean? The correct answer is C, clustering illusion. What error occurs by failing to acknowledge base rates? Is it A, base rate neglect, B, confirmation bias, C, availability heuristic, or D, actor-observer effect? The correct answer is A, base rate neglect. What term describes believing others think similarly? Is it A, social confirmation bias, B, ego projection, C, groupthink, or D, false consensus effect? The correct answer is D, false consensus effect. Which tendency overvaluates rare events? Is it A, anchoring effect, B, gambler's fallacy, C, availability heuristic, or D, confirmation bias? The correct answer is B, gambler's fallacy. Which effect highlights preference for objects due to ownership? Is it A, status quo bias, B, endowment effect, C, loss aversion, or D, sunk cost fallacy? The correct answer is B, endowment effect. What cognitive distortion involves seeing things as black and white? Is it A, overgeneralization, B, catastrophizing, C, labeling, or D, all or nothing thinking? The correct answer is D, all or nothing thinking. What refers to recalling past events as being more predictable? Is it A, confirmation bias, B, projection bias, C, availability heuristic, or D, hindsight bias? The correct answer is D, hindsight bias. Which bias perceives people with similar interests as friends? Is it A, familiarity bias, B, reciprocity bias, C, similarity bias, or D, proximity effect? The correct answer is C, similarity bias. What tendency favors well-known information? Is it A, recency effect, B, availability heuristic, C, anchoring bias, or D, familiarity heuristic? The correct answer is D, familiarity heuristic. What bias describes the belief in personal immunity to risks? Is it A, confirmation bias, B, optimism bias, C, pessimism bias, or D, survivorship bias? The correct answer is B, optimism bias. What is the cognitive distortion that enhances bad news? Is it A, hindsight bias, B, optimism bias, C, negativity bias, or D, confirmation bias? The correct answer is C, negativity bias. What is the tendency to overestimate the effectiveness of personal knowledge? Is it A, illusory superiority, B, self-affirmation bias, C, Dunning-Kruger effect, or D, optimism bias? The correct answer is A, illusory superiority. What term describes the adjustment of judgments based on initial exposure? Is it A, hindsight bias, B, framing effect, C, sunk cost fallacy, or D, anchor effect? The correct answer is D, anchor effect. Which phenomenon leads to exaggerated beliefs and control over random events? Is it A, illusion of control, B, randomness theory, C, superstition bias, or D, confirmation fallacy? The correct answer is A, illusion of control. What bias occurs due to social desirability? Is it A, sampling bias, B, social desirability bias, C, acquaintance bias, or D, confirmation bias? The correct answer is B, social desirability bias. Which term reflects a preference for having options rather than fewer? Is it A, option scarcity, B, limited selection, C, choice simplicity, or D, choice overload? The correct answer is D, choice overload. Thanks for watching. Comment with how many questions you got correct. Should we make the next video have easier or harder problems? Was the difficulty just right? Do you have suggestions for future trivia topics? Don't forget to drop a like and sub if you enjoyed the video.